guys, this is Imani McCallad doing a quick track shakedown and get to familiarize yourself with the course. Obviously this is gonna things that I'm going to be displaying soon, they might not necessarily translate over to your vehicle. For example, some cars can be heavy and make a lot of power, or other cars can be relatively slow in terms of going in a straight line, but are like weigh nothing and can go around corners super fast. Anyways, I'm driving a 4-motion Bora with a 2.2 liter inline 5 turbo, and makes around I think it makes around like 500 at the crank. So this will definitely be a bit of a faster car. Weighs about 1,400 kilos with the driver and a tank of gas in it. It's a bit on the heavy side, granted that it's a smaller car. So yeah, let's get to it. So into turn one, I usually like to have the car in for this car's second gear. When I was driving the S2000, I was able to do relatively the same gearing as well. This car has a bit of an aggressive gearing, so then turn two, I like to chill in second gear as well, and then roll onto the gas until turn four. I usually like to try and tuck the car in really deep into the gutter, try and avoid the fence as well, and then cut late into this gutter here, and then shoot it out on the right hand side. The car will throw you over to the left when you exit, so just bear in mind not to attack the curbs too aggressively. For this corner here, I usually like to go diagonally across on the right, up and to the left here, where that light post is. I usually like to try and go from right to left. So by the time I've unloaded the suspension and I still get a little bit of braking force, and I can take advantage of that on the left-hand side here and try and hug the outside a little bit. You will get shot out towards the right if you do overcook it, but some cars will like to do that so you can get some more front bite if your car has a bit of aero, or if your car doesn't. I usually like to just ride the inside on the left, just because I can use the gutters to hug me in if I tend to overstep my boundaries on the throttle application. Around this corner here, I usually like to enter wide and then kind of make the car feel like it understeers, because the way that this corner is laid out, you can see where my mouse is here. Um, the the tightest point on that corner would be here. So you wanna. So this is kind of like I guess you could say a double apex or even a triple apex corner here. So it's really about being patient here and not over over throttling for an all-wheel drive car, which will give you a little bit understeer, or and the front wheel drives too. But you also don't want to swing the rear end too far out on a rear wheel drive car too. With this corner with all-wheel drives, you can definitely power slide this corner. For rear wheel drives, I usually like to enter wide and then give it a little bit of e-brake, just a couple of grabs of the e-brake to slow the inside wheels down, and then get back on the throttle, but try and keep the drivetrain loaded but not spinning the tires. Uh, Over here, I'd kind of just like to carry my momentum here so that I get sent out. So I get sent out to this curb here, then be going out towards this fence pretty much flat out, and I'll usually like to lift or if the car doesn't get a lot of engine brake, then I'll downshift as well before I tip it in. There's a lot of room that you can use up here without hitting the fence, so that you can make your you can make the jolt forces to your right from hopping out not as aggressive, and then carry it into that ditch as well. Throughout these sections, if the car has aero, I can pretty much keep it flat. This car not particularly. And I like to aim for that outside fence there under the bridge, and then end up taking this wide here, so I don't have to necessarily lift or stay or keep my throttle input modulated there. But halfway through that straight that we just passed, I usually like to lift. Around here, I usually carry my speed, lift, and then downshift, and then I like to brake on the inside here, and then tip it into the right. And I kind of try and carry my speed through here, try and not throttle the car much, try and just let all these corners here slow me down because it's an uphill. A little bit more downhill here, but I've already slowed down to maybe second gear here under full tilt. And then I kind of want to chill in second gear or first gear even with this car. For this corner here, this is a tricky one because you're usually fighting up the uphill here. I've noticed that with the sharper the corners, the more you want to ride the outside to avoid the aggressive elevation change, which could potentially unload your suspension on one side. And I like to cut in later there. I'm not let's see. In my rear view, I usually like to have my bumper there towards the end and then just travel straight through. Pretty much full throttle if I can here, and then I brake after I get onto the downhill. I'll usually be in third gear here and downshift to second, or I can carry my momentum in third as well without really applying a throttle, but trying to make sure I get the braking down right. And then after this corner, I usually like to be flat if possible. If I notice that I'm really loading the front suspension, then I'll try and let off a little bit so that I don't get the car to oversteer on landing. So I'll try and go for a flyer here, and then yeah, just let me know in the comments about any suggestions that you have or anything that you've learned. Any kind of constructive feedback would be much appreciated.